Edmund Burke once said, "All that is necessary for the triumph of evil is that good men do nothing." And from the look of things, that's exactly what we've done. Nothing. The Declaration of Independence states, "Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty, to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security." The unanimous Declaration of Independence. In other words, it is our duty as American citizens to overthrow tyrannical government, and there's no better way to say it, to provide new guards for our future security. And what better shows that as Americans we're willing to do so than by working, providing for our families, and going to college. And that's exactly where our first subject takes us, to our founding fathers fighting for our future security. It's 1776. We've had instances and stands for our freedom, the Boston Tea Party, our outrage at the Stamp Act, the feathering and tarring of the king's tax collectors, and what goes ridiculously unnoticed is the colony's struggles with Parliament and the Central Bank of England. King George III allowed Parliament to write legislation for the colonies in all matters whatsoever, according to the Declaration of Independence. Among these legislations was one outlawing our money supply, requiring us to conform to the Central Bank of England. And yet most of us never learn about that aspect. And why not? Well, perhaps it didn't play a big role in claiming our independence. The refusal of King George III to allow the colonies to operate an honest money system, which freed the ordinary man from the clutches of the money manipulation, was probably the prime cause of the Revolution. Thomas Jefferson. Okay, so we wanted to get away from the Central Bank of England. So, what is a central bank? A central bank is an institute that provides the currency of an entire nation. A central bank's two powers are to A, control interest rates, and B, to control inflation, or the money supply. America's own central bank was founded in 1913 with the Federal Reserve Act, along with the 16th Amendment. And every dollar that the Federal Reserve makes is on loan to us at interest. So naturally, the interest from all of our money is debt to the country. So every dollar in your pocket is that dollar plus a percentage of the debt. So where does the money come from to pay off that debt? Why, it comes from the Federal Reserve again, increasing our debt. And debt that can never be paid off equals slavery. The fact is, the Federal Reserve is as Federal Express. It isn't even a federal institute. The Federal Reserve System is privately owned, makes its own policies, and is under no regulation by the U.S. government. Andrew Jackson ended the Second Central Bank of America in 1833, and 20 years after the Federal Reserve Act, the gold standard was abolished, leaving the control of our currency to a private corporation. A dollar bill previous to 1933 was redeemable in gold on demand at the United States Treasury, which they wouldn't directly go to the Treasury. They would go to their banks, which would have permits to get the gold from the Treasury. Nowadays, all of our money says that this note, which means a legal contract, is legal tender, which means that it's backed by absolutely nothing. Once again, history teaches us about today, when 200 years ago, Thomas Jefferson said, "I believe that banking institutes are more dangerous than standing armies. If the American people ever allow private banks to control the issue of currency, the banks and corporations that will grow up around them will deprive the people of their property until their children wake up homeless on the continent their fathers conquered." Sound familiar? If it doesn't, that's okay. You're not supposed to know just how corrupt the system is. Everything you're taught as a child, in high school, and even in college encourages you to conform to these ideas, They tell you what their Federal Reserve is, and that's it. Like, that's how it really is. And for more on that subject, it brings us to our next topic, TV. And what we'll do is we'll hear a small piece from Howard Beale and what he feels about it.
In a lot of trouble because you people and 62 million other Americans are listening to me right now because less than 3% of you people read books. Because less than 15% of you read newspapers. Because the only truth you know is what you get over this tube. Right now, there is an entire generation that never knew anything that didn't come out of this tube. This tube is the gospel, the ultimate revelation. This tube can make or break presidents, popes, prime ministers. This tube is the most awesome goddamn force in the whole godless world. And woe is us if it all falls into the hands of the wrong people. And when the largest company in the world controls the most awesome goddamn propaganda force in the whole godless world, who knows what shit will be taken for truth on this network. So you listen to me. Listen to me. Television is not the truth. Television is a goddamn amusement park. Television is a circus, a carnival, a traveling troupe of acrobats, storytellers, dancers, singers, jugglers, sideshow freaks, lion tamers, and football players. We're in the boredom-killing business. But you people sit there day after day, night after night, all ages, colors, creeds. We're all you know. You're beginning to believe the illusions we're spinning here. You're beginning to think that the tube is reality and that your own lives are unreal. You do whatever the tube tells you. You dress like the tube. You eat like the tube. You raise your children like the tube. You even think like the tube. This is mass madness, you maniac. In God's name, you people are the real thing. We are the illusion.
In order to properly expose this, let's take a look at our most previous illusion that was mass spun. Change. Controlled hypnosis in needy government elite. Barack Hussein Obama has gone against nearly every promise made to the American people, is the only president to directly refute his limitations as stands by the Constitution and accepted a secondary post at the UN, has given multiple speeches tying into the New World Order, and is an admitted advocate of it, says Henry Kissinger. Barack Obama has also spent more money in his first year as president than all the previous presidents before him combined. So I suppose that change is exactly what we need. Citizens halting anti-democratic, nefarious government elite. So what do we do? Vote Republican instead? No, I'm sorry to break it to you, but it wouldn't be any different. History has shown us that the two-party system is only a system to trick you into making a bad decision. So the answer is to educate yourself. Paraphrasing Becoming a Teacher, Thomas Jefferson, the author of the Declaration of Independence, founding father and two-term president of the U.S., was one of the greatest minds of our nation. No one in our great nation has as consistently viewed public education as the indispensable cornerstone of freedom. In fact, he viewed education of common people as the most effective means of preserving liberty. Jefferson was dedicated to human freedom and repulsed by any form of tyranny or absolutism. I have sworn, he once said, upon the altar of God, eternal hostility against every form of tyranny over the mind of man. The information is out there. Who's funding who? Do they really have a clean voting record? And the most important thing, do they support and stand on the Constitution? We must walk down the avenues our founding fathers have fought to create, because there is no other way. I believe Martin Luther King Jr. said it best when he said, "We must learn to live together as brothers, or perish together as fools." Thank you. and God bless.